Hey, what's up guys? Tenji Hazumaki here and welcome to the first episode of Let's Talk Roleplay. You may know me as my display name Tempest Edax Reroom. If you're unsure as to what it means, it translates to Time Devours All Things. It's Latin, the more you know, right? Now I understand that some of you may not know who I am and I would like to apologize for that. Demise Avalon and I did a podcast a while back and he seems to be having trouble getting that video up. Or he's just lazy between the two of us, you know what I mean? Yeah. Nonetheless, when the video is finally up, you can find it on his channel, Roleplay Humor. I would like to take a moment to pay tribute to Horuku Shuriki. Had it not been for him, this channel may not have been a thing and I wouldn't be able to bring all of you wonderful people the information you so deserve. Now that we have that out of the way, let's jump into today's topic. Character creation. Fun stuff, right? I understand that this is basic stuff that most of you already know, but if I can help at least one person with this video, I am happy. Before creating a character, you should first take into consideration what type of roleplay that if you plan on using the character primarily or exclusively for combat, I suggest that you spend the most time on the character's physical prowess and alike. If he or she isn't going to see the light of day in a storyline setting, it wouldn't make much sense to give them a very distinct personality. No one hates wasted effort. That's not to say you shouldn't give them one at all. After all, a character with an analytic personality is more likely to sit back and gather information than one whom acts first and asks questions later. I suggest you craft your character's fighting style and abilities based on personal preference. To enjoy smashing people's faces in and bathing in their blood? Who doesn't, right? The bruiser type may be to your liking. They're decently tanky while still being able to deal tons of damage and having some speed to boot. While physical combat is a constant, there are numerous ways you can build them, granting you the gift of versatility. If you'd rather sacrifice natural speed for spiritual prowess, go right ahead. If being stronger and faster than the brethren of your class would suit you better, then do away with all that hocus pocus stuff. Bruisers are generally good at everything but never quite a master in any one thing. And this way you'll never find yourself at an overwhelming disadvantage, but the opposite won't be a case either. Just remember to keep everything neat and tidy and you'll never receive a complaint. Want to take your survivability a step further and laugh in everyone's faces simply because it doesn't hurt? Boy, do I have a class for you. The 10 class, while not being very mobile, more than makes up for its shortcomings by being extremely durable. You have all the perks of being nearly unkillable while still being able to dish out a lot of hurt. The main downfall of the 10 class is that they aren't the most versatile bunch. Most are relatively so, with only one or two impacting abilities that won't fall under physical strength. Unless, of course, you're going for something similar to a cleric where most of your damage will come from spiritual prowess respectively. Or perhaps being really fast suits your fancy. The characters of this class come by many names, so it's a tad difficult to claim just one. Rangers, as they're most commonly known as, are renowned for their quick wits and speedy movements. They're able to dance around their slow adversaries and make quick work of most folks before they have a chance to say no. Don't let this go to your head, however. Just because you have the speed advantage doesn't mean you'll land an easy victory. Most characters nowadays are seasoned warriors and will be able to make up for their shortcomings. Rangers can choose to main either in spiritual prowess or physical combat, but a balanced mix of both is generally advised. What's the disadvantage, you ask? A ranger will never be as strong as a 10 class character and won't be able to make things explode quite like a mage would. Speaking of magi, let's move on to the next character class. Mage class is easily the most versatile of all the classes. While they may not be particularly strong, fast, or durable, there's nothing a little magic can't remedy. Magi are generally smaller than most since they chose to focus on magical might, but boy do they make an impact. A good mage could easily make quick work of an entire group of adversaries, but at a distance. Keep in mind, if the enemy is allowed to get in your face, you might as well stick your head between your legs and kiss that sweet ass goodbye. Magic is limitless, and in a way, so are you. As a mage, you have the possibility of temporarily assuming the role of any of the other character classes. However, ask yourself, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Balance is key in this class. You want to make yourself as powerful as possible while keeping everything fair. If you decide to major in elemental magic, a good rule of thumb is to avoid having access to more than 2 elements at once. Just please don't be that guy who makes an avatar copy and add in all the quirky elements to boot. I could make an entire video series dedicated just to the mage class. If that doesn't spell infinite creative freedom, I don't know what does. Now, should you feel the need to involve your character you freshly created into any sort of storyline on a regular basis, I beg of you to give him or her a personality that stands on its own. There's nothing worse than reading a roleplay filled with cliché character from a predetermined archetype. While archetypes are necessary for NPCs, you want to make your character as interesting as possible. The one sin that you should never, ever commit is creating a Mary Sue. If you're not sure what a Mary Sue is, then allow me to explain. A Mary Sue is a character that always has an answer to everything. They're the type of character that has everything working out for them, and they never seem to be in a situation they can't handle. That is boring. Give your guy or gal flaws and depth. Make them something truly memorable, so when your roleplay partners finish reading their posts, they have to take a moment and think to themselves, wow, they really put a lot of work into their characters and it shows. While the aforementioned thought is something that's likely to never cross anyone's mind in that exact way, but nonetheless, spend a lot of time developing this part of your character. Age is another very important part to consider when creating your character. Keep in mind, in order to avoid Mary Sue syndrome, your character should be fairly old before he or she is lord of anything. A younger character is going to be far more inexperienced and incapable, for that matter, in dealing with life situations than a much older character. If he or she is under 30 years old, they should in no way, shape, or form be a master in multiple fields or the Lord of the Demons, because, you know, everyone loves the Lord of the Demons. It takes time to master one's skill set, and you should keep that in mind. Be realistic with your choices. A 16-year-old character isn't going to be able to react on instincts faster than a character who is 30 and trained their whole life. My main, Tenji, is 36 and he is just now mastering the skill set he obtained during his mortal life. He'll be another 15 years or so in his story before he masters all the skills he obtained during his introduction into the Avalon family. Most will want to give their character some form of nobility or royalty. While there is nothing wrong with that, I will say it is a very common thing. If you want to be a standout character, I suggest you go for one that is of the common citizen flavor. A common misconception among roleplayers is that you absolutely have to play a character of the same gender as yourself. It's an understandable desire. After all, it's far more easier and comfortable to play someone of the same sex. However, that doesn't mean you shouldn't play the other side, so to speak. As a man who plays a few female characters myself, I can tell you that playing the opposite gender can not only be fun as hell, but it can also make you a better roleplayer overall. This way, the range of emotions you can display in your character is expanded, and I can guarantee you can make for some very interesting interactions. So don't be afraid to pretend you have a vagina, or a penis respectively if you happen to be a woman. Finally, to conclude this video, I would like to move on to karmic alignment. If you are unsure as to what I mean by karmic alignment, I mean whether you choose to make your character good, neutral, or evil. Karmic alignment is a challenging subject all of its own, since what's good and evil is entirely subjective. A difference of ideals could turn your average hero into a villain and vice versa. If you're creating a character for a specific burst, take the time to observe the world's characters and what's accepted as good and evil in that story. If you're going for something entirely custom of your own creation, have fun with it. What's evil in one person's world may be good in yours. However, as a general rule of thumb, a character of the good karmic alignment is generally one who fights for the greater good. He or she is someone who follows a generalized set of moral values that would be deemed as righteous and perform actions that could be considered justice. Evil characters are just the opposite of that extreme. Karmic alignment is a subject that warrants a video of its own, and if you wonderful people think that should be covered, feel free to shoot me a message or a comment below. I sincerely hope I was able to help anyone still stuck in character creation, and if you have any questions, please, for the love of God, shoot me a message. I'm here to help, and that's what I'm going to make this YouTube channel all about. It's been a pleasure, and I will see you all next time on Let's Talk Roleplay.